Hey there, everybody. I'm Doug Kaufman with Tomorrow's Technician, and I'm here again to talk about the 2024-2025 Instructor of the Year, presented by Blaster Corporation, in association with the North American Council of Automotive Teachers. And guess what? I've got another great instructor to talk to you about today. When so many instructors are tempted to leave teaching for the allure of more lucrative careers outside of education, Andy Buehler has affirmed his commitment to the next generation of automotive professionals by leaving industry to come to the classroom. The Automotive Technologies instructor at the Upper Valley Career Center in Piqua, Ohio, Buehler is in his 8th year, teaching junior and senior high school students. A graduate of the prestigious University of Northwestern Ohio, Andy worked for the Ohio Department of Transportation. He currently holds 51 ASE certifications, including 6 master-level certifications and all advanced L-Series designations. He's competed at the elite Trades U.S. Autotech National Championship the past 4 years, earning 1st, 3rd, 4th, and a top 16th place. In 2023, he was awarded one of 5 Harbor Freight Tools for Schools Teaching Excellence Grand Prize Awards. I know, right? Well, let's hear more about his commitment straight from Andy Buehler.
So I got into teaching when I worked for the Ohio Department of Transportation as a technician. We had some interns from UNOH that we worked with, so I got to work with 1 or 2 kids at times. Kind of saw that was kind of neat to share that information with them. I had a former coworker there that left, and he went to teach ag power at a local career tech. And he kind of some word back from him like, yeah, it's pretty neat, pretty cool. So I started looking into it, kind of almost by accident got into it. I just happened to ask what the minimum qualifications were, and they happened to have an opening a couple weeks later. So real good timing. Working with interns and stuff at UNOH got me started wanting to teach. So I try to exemplify excellence in my program by leading by example. My students were all required to wear a shop shirt and shop pants. I wear a shop shirt and shop pants every day. I'm in uniform. I've got my boots on. I follow all the safety protocols. They won't hear me curse in lab. I hold them to those rules. I hold myself to the same rules. So my history in the industry, when I was like 14 years old, I started working at a fertilizer company, packing wheel bearings. They were assembling equipment, new equipment. So I got to do a little bit of mechanical assembly. As a kid, I worked on lawnmowers and go-karts a lot. Went to college at UNOH, went through their automotive program, their high performance program. Started in the parts industry, got real comfortable in the parts industry, and then moved into, there was a small shop, Luthman Truck Service, I worked for on the side for years. We did ag, heavy truck, automotive, pickup truck stuff. Started working for the Ohio Department of Transportation. So anything that had an engine, wheels, or tracks, we usually had our hands on it, and then transitioned into teaching from there. I guess also on the excellence side, pursuing my ASEs. I've continued my education, hunting down all the ASEs. I've taken all 51, passed all 51. They will be inducting me into the ASE President's Club this spring. I think in the last 2 years, they've inducted 12 people so far. So 12 people worldwide plus whatever they had this year. So that kind of thirst for knowledge and verify it has led me down that path. So balancing between the classroom and the shop, with the juniors, we start every morning off with our lecture. We have some bell work. We have some activities we do for review. Once we move, so a lot of what I cover that day in related, the classroom part, then helps them know what they're doing in the lab. We get down into the shop, different students have different tasks, so we have a tool room. It'll be a different student each day running the tool room, so I don't have to worry about pulling tools for them. They get to do that part of it, sign tools in and out. They're in charge of cleanup. They run that. The person in the tool cage is in charge of making sure that cleanup's done properly, and then I get to move from bay to bay, checking on people as we go. So at the Career Center, we're set up where we have academics on campus. So my students will be with me 4 periods a day, but they also take 4 periods of academics. Our English classes make them do a resume. So they're developing a resume. Their 2 years are here. So when they walk out of here, they've got a resume that's built and been approved and reviewed. Math classes will do budgeting. They're doing life skills stuff that's very valuable. As these students walk out into the real world, they're ready to take off and run. The other benefit of them being on campus, if they're falling behind in any academic class, I find out about it. So I can kind of get on the students as they're in the shop. Hey, you owe the math teacher such and such assignment. You need to get that done or you're not going to be in shop tomorrow. So it keeps them motivated to stay on top of their tasks, keeps them motivated. So some of the things the school and the industry can do is a lot of it's working together. So we do a 2-week apprenticeship program where it's an off and on. Students are at school, then they're at work. The students get a taste of the real world, but they're still getting the training from us. One of the other big hurdles I'm seeing lately is the pay difference for some of the technicians. I've been providing some information to my advisor on what the other skilled trades are making. So like our electricians or machinists, what they're making compared to ours, so they can try to be competitive on if a kid's making $17 at a local hardware store and they're making 12 in the auto industry, it's going to be hard to sell it to that kid to, hey, work here for less money. So we're sharing some of that information, some of the metrics involved in that. One of the others is if they have vehicles or equipment they want to get rid of, if it can come to the school to help out. We've had some people donate tools. I've had some advisory members donate tools to us. So if a kid needs tools, here's some hand-me-down stuff. Yeah, it's used stuff, but it'll get the kid up and running, get them out working. Sometimes we'll use that stuff as incentives. So if it's a student of the week, they get to pick a tool out of the tool bucket of what was donated. Yeah, so the students have their basic tools in lab. We do have some of the bigger stuff or the specialty stuff the school provides. I've been trying over the last 8 years try to whittle it down to about as simple as a kit as I can get, so they don't have to have like pry bars or hammers. That stuff we can keep around the shop. This coming year, I'm thinking about buying meters with some of the Harbor Freight Prize money, buying meters for each kid. So if they meet a certain criteria, they get to keep the meter. And again, that's not taxpayer money, so we're not giving away taxpayer funds. It's prize money funds. It's one of the fortunate things with the administration we have, they let me run a separate account for our skills money. So when a vehicle sells, part of it goes to the big chapter to fund sending kids to state and stuff. So like this one was donated, wrote up as donated to skills. If it gets sold at the auction, they do an online auction, a portion of that money goes into our activity account. Yeah. So we design a t-shirt, every kid gets a t-shirt. The black toolboxes, these little Harbor Freight carts. Yeah. About 5 years ago, I think we started funding those out of that. So customer donation money from doing work, sale of the vehicles pays for those. And then their senior year, if they have 85% grade or better and 95% attendance or better between the 2 years, they get to keep that at the end of the. So they potentially leave here with that, go out in the industry, they got a tool cart already. Last year, I started buying torque wrenches, so one of the Harbor Freight tools for schools, where we're using that money to buy 3/8" beam type torque wrench. So every junior gets one starting out. At semester, if they got a C or better, they get to keep it. And it's not taxpayer money because it was that prize money. And then I don't have to have torque wrenches calibrated because every year we get a new batch of torque wrenches and they've all got a torque wrench and they all know how to use it. And I've got this, I get to earn this if I keep doing it. And the work we're doing on these vehicles benefits me because it's goes into that. And there's other schools that aren't fortunate. Miami Valley CTC in Dayton, I was talking to that instructor, he's on, I think his 3rd year teaching. And he said, yeah, if we do customer work, it goes into the general fund. And they use it to pave parking lots and do this. And I said, how do you sell the kids on wanting to do this if they don't get any benefit from it? So he's trying to work their administration over. And I told him, if you need me to come down and talk to them, I'll show them how we do things. And they got there's a lot more hierarchy, a lot more administration down there. So I also have my students on their resume so we use a lot of hunter equipment. So if they put the model number, I urge them to put the Hunter model number on their resume. So if it's a TC37 tire changer and they go to a shop that runs that, they already know that student's been trained on that equipment. They don't have to mess around with learning that equipment. There's another activity I do their junior year in the fall called Shop List. The students are required to look up 20 shops in their area, and it's a simple copy and paste into a document electronically, and they list the name of a shop, the address, and phone number. So when we get to the spring, when the juniors are starting to look for jobs for their next year, for the senior year, for job placement, and they come to me and ask me, hey, Mr. Buehler, get me a job. I said, get that list out, start making phone calls. Get your resume from English class, start visiting places. I kind of put the ball in their court, and a lot of them have gone out and made relationships with dealerships and independent shops that now hire students down the road because they've been impressed with the student. They've done a good job. Yeah. So a lot of the shops in the area do know about the program. I have had a lot of relationships developed with local shops because students have gone out on a job shadow, visited the shop, impressed them. Their junior year, they're required to go out and do a job shadow. When we have the sophomores come tour the program, we send all the kids out and they have an option to go to a job shadow. I had a student graduated in the class of 21 that did a job shadow at a local Chrysler dealership. They really liked the job shadow he did, so they hired him next year as an apprentice. He graduated from my program. He went down to Sinclair to do the Mopar CAP program. They had him down there and he took all that. He's still working for me. He's doing really, really well. He's almost 4 years out of high school, and I talked to the shop owner the other week and said he's making real good money, doing a fantastic job, and it all went off of a job shadow where the kid was polite and professional. So being recognized as an Instructor of the Year candidate means I've what I've been doing is working. So sometimes I think outside of the box and I come at things from weird angles, and we do experiments and demonstrate engine failure so the kids can see a tear down on an engine that failed. Sometimes it's looked at as, well, that's kind of weird stuff you're doing, but I'm starting to see that this stuff is working. It's staying in the kids' memories. As we go in and get recognized for this, I realize that what I'm doing must be working. We participate in Skills USA. We actually, today is state competitions in Columbus. So I've got 2 of my seniors competing in the maintenance light repair. I had 2 students competed at regionals for the automotive service technologies. They didn't move on to state, but I do have 2 of them working in maintenance light repair. Sinclair Community College let me know that one of my seniors is competing in the college level today. So hopefully one of my previous graduates does well today, so I can get some word back that he did well. Yeah, so I've competed the last 4 years in the U.S. Auto Tech National Championship. This year, in 2024, I won first place. So I took home national title there. The year before that was 3rd. I was 4th the year before that, and the first year they did, I was in top 16. I made a mistake pressing a U-joint and popped a U-joint in the semifinals. Otherwise, I probably would have been in the finals that year as well. It's been a great opportunity. Let me network with a lot of people. I've still got people that 2 of the President's Club members, 2 of the original 6 were at the competition. I got to meet those guys, and they're the ones that kind of urged me and pushed me to get more than, I was shooting for 30 ASCs, and they said, you need to get to 51. You need to catch us. And they've since been on me about, you need to take the military ones now too. There's 8 military ASCs that they're not part of the requirement to be President's Club, but they've got them now, so now they're giving me a hard time that I need to get to 59. So that's on my to-do list now. So what's next for me? I'm hoping in the next couple of years I want to look into applying for the School of the Year as we continue to develop the program here. I'm going to be continuing to mentor a new auto service instructor. I would like to also start a foundation. One of the schools in Southern Ohio met one of their diesel instructors. They've had a foundation for students that need vehicles. So a lot of the vehicles we get donated from the public, so it might be a vehicle at a shop that maybe had an engine failure or had maybe an extensive repair that somebody didn't want to spend money on. It gets donated to the school. We use it as a training aid. We can't give that car that is now a school asset to a student. But if we create a foundation like this school in Southern Ohio did, create a foundation where the car goes to the foundation, and we got certain stipulations where this car can then go to a student that needs to be able to drive to get to work. The kids we have out on job placement, or could be job placement, but they don't have a car, can now drive to work. So I want to start working on that. There's a lot of legal hurdles and stuff that we got to get through. They've sent me their blueprint of how they've done it. So we're going to try to follow that, and I got to talk to admin on it and see what we can and can't do. But we get a lot of students, electrical trades, machine trades, auto collision, welding, that if they had a car, they could get to work. And this can completely change their life. Where now I can drive to work, I can support myself, versus I can't drive to work, so I'm just going to stay at school. So hopefully I've been on a to-do list for a couple of years now, and everything's settling down a little bit. I can get into that, open that can of worms up next.
Andy says he's constantly working to improve his teaching performance by speaking with other instructors and sharing ideas of what works in the classroom and what doesn't. He hosts Meeting of the Minds for local auto tech instructors, participates in training at local Sinclair Community College and UNOH, and asks for feedback from his current and former students to learn what they felt made an impression on their education. Creative teaching methods, an active working shop with potential for students to leave Upper Valley with starter toolkits, and productive internship programs are part of what made Andy Buehler one of our 6 finalists for the National Instructor of the Year Award, to be named in May. Andy, on behalf of all of us at Babcock's Media, Tomorrow's Technician, NACAT, and especially our friends at Blaster Corporation, congratulations. If you know somebody like Andy, first, buy him a coffee and say thanks. Next, tell us about him or her. Visit tomorrowstechnician.com, open the contest tab, and fill out the simple Instructor of the Year form today. Instructors like Andy Buehler and all of our Instructor of the Year finalists deserve our support. I'm Doug Kaufman. On behalf of Tomorrow's Technician, NACAT, and Blaster Corporation, thanks. We're proud of you.